After spending 7 years in the corporate world as a digital marketer, I decided to try a freelance career. In this video, I'll show you a typical day of a freelance marketer, tell you about 2 startups I'm involved in, shed some light on how I plan my day and the things I struggle with. Spoiler, you'll also get to see some pretty parts of the Finnish capital, Helsinki. First things first, it's super important to me to be able to structure my day properly. Right now, I work for 2 different startups as a marketing consultant, and I also decided to double down on my own YouTube activity. That's why to me it's crucial to mark down everything in my calendar, to set all the important deadlines, calls, tasks, and whatnot. Otherwise, things will just get so random, especially right now when the weather has been so freaking incredible and you just want to go for a walk and then you spend like 3 hours outside and then basically you call it a day. At the same time, I'm trying to have at least 2 or 3 days throughout the week where I have my phone on the do not disturb mode throughout the whole day. I don't have any calls with my mom, friends, etc. to make sure that I can dedicate myself entirely to work, and at the same time to make sure that during the weekend I completely recharge and rest. Super excited to share with you guys about the 2 startups I'm currently working for. So the first one is a mobile app for swimmers. I've shared the entire story about how we got started and how we started working together on my LinkedIn, so check it out if you want to read the full story. But in a nutshell, my university friends reached out to me for a marketing consultation and we had a super nice chat, and to me it became kind of clear and evident right from the very beginning what channels they should focus on and which channels they need to forget entirely, simply to having super limited resources. So I told them that they have a lot of potential to grow through the video content. So basically we started working together and we took their existing video tutorials and repurposed them in the short form content format. And our reels actually took off incredibly. Some of our videos got like 2-3 million views, and of course it all resulted in the increased number of app downloads and in the increased number of sales. And with just 6 short clips, we managed to grow the Instagram account from 16k to 150k subs, and the growth does not stop there. And right now we're planning many more things and growing our content marketing machine to the fullest. And actually right now I got a video draft and I'm supposed to take a look at it and provide some comments, so join me there. For example, right now I'm trying to calculate an approximate budget that we would need for our paid advertising campaigns. By the way, all of these numbers are totally random. This is more like a template. So I'm trying to calculate what kind of budget we could aim to, what's the desired cost per click we are ready to pay when it comes to Instagram ads or Facebook ads, whatever. And based on that, when you calculate the entire funnel, of course, we kind of, in the ideal world, should calculate what's the realistic generated sales and revenue that we can get from our advertising campaigns. And in general, I feel like there are so many amazing things that I'd be happy to share about this startup that we are working on. For example, one crazy story, I spent 3 months in Bali, and that's a whole different story. Maybe one day I'll create like a separate blog on that, because too many amazing things have happened there. In any case, as you know, Bali is famous for a big community of digital nomads. We've been struggling to find a decent UX designer for a while, and then one day in Bali I went to this networking breakfast with like 0 expectations, and when everyone was introducing each other, there was this one guy who said that he's been working as a UI UX designer for quite some time now, and he's worked for a gigantic and super famous bank in Russia, and I immediately thought that I need to go and talk to him, and that's basically what I did. After the breakfast, I was really in a rush, I needed to run, but I talked to him literally for 2 minutes. I asked if he was looking for a side gig and he said yes, so then I asked him to forward his CV to me. I then forwarded it immediately to one of our founders. On the following day, we had a call and he started working for us almost immediately. So just like that, we found a very good designer who's been working for us ever since. While I'm having a walk, I usually like to reflect on some things, work-related, life-related, but now I want to share a few reflections about my experience as a marketer in this startup world. So the first thing that I've noticed is that startup founders and in general non-marketing people, so to say, they become kind of biased and too product oriented. Biased in a way that they obviously deal with the product every single day of their life, and they literally know the ins and outs of their product, and they think that others should perceive their product the same way, or they should perceive the new feature the same way. They should look forward to this new feature, just as they do, just as the product team does or the design team does, whereas it's not the case at all. And I think for marketers, we have this responsibility to kind of set this realistic expectation for startup founders. Another reflection is, or actually before we get started, just take a look at this pretty street. I love it. Anyway, so if you work as a marketer for any startup, you're most likely a solo marketer. So make sure you use your time in a wise way and make sure you set clear boundaries right at the very beginning. For example, in my case, especially because I was a freelance marketer, I had to specify the fact that I'm not going to be working on weekends. And any startup would need so much help with like all things marketing. Literally, there's just like tons of questions about content marketing, a lot of ideas when it comes to paid ads, tons of things having to do with product marketing, and there's just limited amount of time that you can dedicate to it. So make sure that you have this ability to say no to things, and make sure to use your time in a smart way. Third thing that I've noticed while working as a marketer for startups, they obviously have super limited marketing budget. Sorry, there is a tram, of course, now that I'm filming. There is super limited budget, and of course there's always this question: how much should we spend on this ad campaign? How much are we ready to pay to influencers? And no one knows the answers, really. It's just like almost impossible. But there is one way to be able to give at least a rough estimate. Think of any startup you work with as your own business, as your own thing. Would you be ready to spend this amount of money on project ABC? And if yes, why? Usually you will find a clear justification almost immediately. The next few hours I'm gonna spend working on the second startup where I also serve as a marketing consultant. They actually found me through YouTube, and we had a marketing consultation and decided to give a try to a small marketing project where I help them with their social media content and help them drive sales with the help of video content. So let's see how it goes. And actually right now I'm having a quick catch-up call with them to take a look at our results from the previous month and see how we're gonna move forward. So we actually just finished our call, and I think it went quite well. The key takeaway for me is that it really adds up this extra layer of stress and responsibility, perhaps, when you work as a freelance consultant, is when you're not a part of their team. A lot of clients sort of take your work with a pinch of salt. And right now I'm gonna work on the next batch of short form videos for the client, and join me there. In the evening, I love working from a cafe. Usually the cafe setup gives me a lot of inspiration to think about my own YouTube content, to watch other creators, and to collect some ideas on my future videos. Also, sitting in a cafe is a good way to distract from your home setup, and as a freelancer marketer, I spend quite a lot of time at home.
bend your left elbow, contract through the abdominal wall. You're gonna bring your left elbow to kiss your right knee, move nice and slow, also a little yoga for the brain. Once you do, I like to do the sound effect here. Mwah.